spotted her in a train. She was like hanging out. There's something special about this girl.
He kept, trying to talk to me. We became really good friends.
The fact that she's a very fiery person made me fall in love.
He was kind and loving and sensitive. I couldn't imagine a life without him. It was magical. And in December 2015, we got married. But I didn't know that things would fall apart so fast. I don't want to imagine what would have happened if Lollipop hadn't been around. I realized in the first year how bad things were.
Bhuvana is emotionally very strong, but when emotions are involved, for me, it is very difficult. When we got married, it was the first time when, families were involved. All these expectations started coming in. Every time we had an argument about this, I would shut down.
I always had trouble managing my anger. I felt like I was talking to a wall. I would try talking, and then my anger would take over. There were times when the house felt like it was going to light up on fire because we both were so angry at each other, and sometimes it was just silence.
There were days when we would not speak to each other. Felt like we were roommates.
I realized that I needed to do something else. I always loved cats. So I found a volunteering program at the local animal shelter, and I became a cat volunteer there. I started volunteering after work, and the animals were so happy to see me. All they had to give was love, and that's all I needed. I was volunteering one night, and I saw a 6-month-old black kitten. I could feel some nervousness about her, but I just sat there and waited for her. In a few seconds, she poked her head out, and I guess she just knew I was family because she jumped out and ran and sat on my lap. I don't know how to explain it. I just knew that she was the one.
Bhuvana called me, and I was a little hesitant, but I came to the shelter, and she hopped on my lap.
And I remember he said, "I guess she's like a dog, so it's okay." And that's all I needed. I immediately went up the front desk, and I was like, I want to adopt Lollipop. Lollipop had a pretty rough start to life. She had an upper respiratory infection, she had gingivitis, she had ringworm. She came to the shelter, and they treated her for all of those illnesses.
I was very apprehensive about things, and I never thought of a cat as a pet. I was very clear that Bhuvana would have to take care of her.
I was able to focus myself at work and at home because she was there for me. And she just returned all the love back to me. But pretty soon after we adopted Lollipop, my father was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and it was devastating. I had to go to spend some time with my father. When I was away in India for 6 months, I just focused on my father. But with my husband, things fell apart even more. It felt like I was chatting with a robot.
I didn't know how to handle this conversation with her because I was afraid of how serious her father's illness was.
I needed help figuring out what was the next step. What would happen after my dad died? But there was no one to talk about that with me because my husband was just lost in his own thoughts, and he was just unavailable. I didn't know what we were holding on to anymore. There was nothing left. When I came back to the US, I was so angry then. And I was also filled with grief. I had pretty much decided that we were going to go through a divorce. But I wanted to go back for Lollipop. When I came back, I expected Lollipop to immediately be my best friend. But she initially was scared of me. I wasn't sure what was going to happen because my understanding was that my husband was not connected with Lollipop, and I was so sad that she was alone. But I saw that their relationship was amazing, and I realized that in my absence, they had bonded. And she was closer to him than she was to me.
In Bhuvana's absence, I knew I had to take care of Lollipop, to clean and feed Lollipop. Soon after, we started developing a bond. I started off with the rule that make sure that the cat is not on the bed, she's not on the couch, she's not ruining the furniture, and that would be a happy Lollipop and that'd be a happy Abhishek. And Lollipop disagreed with it. And pretty soon she was sleeping right under my legs in the same bed. Lollipop's unconditional love opened something inside of me. I started talking to her and telling her that, don't worry, mommy's gonna be home soon, and telling her how much I love her.
I asked him, what changed? And he said, Lollipop was the only piece of you that was left behind. And I wanted to love her and take care of her because I knew how much that meant to you, and in the process, I fell in love with Lollipop. He had become emotionally more available. And I started realizing that Lollipop had a huge role to play in that.
We took help of some counseling, and that's when we learned the lack of communication that we have.
There'd be times when I'd just be screaming and shouting, and I knew I had to stop, but I just couldn't. And Lollipop would transform into this confident tiger. She would walk into the room and jump on my lap or my husband's lap and look at me as if to say, "Stop, Mom, that's enough." And she knew what an effect that she had on me. Lollipop made sure that my husband and I were in the same room to play with her and to interact with her. She was just not okay if it was just one of us. Having one common thing that we both just loved changed things. And I didn't want to lose him anymore.
I can't imagine our life the way it is now without Lollipop. She's a black cat, but she has added color to our lives.
We're in a place where we're happy, where we look forward to being with each other. And we call the three of us a family.